What are you planning to shoot with it?
I don't plan anything. I just do. I
Carry it.
just put the camera in my bag and leave my house. And if I see something that I like, I click the button that makes the picture.
Oh,
That's my
you,
plan.
you carry a camera around with you all the time?
Not all the time because I forget, but whenever I go somewhere and I remember, then yes.
But the
Nice.
best camera is the one you carry with you, as I would say.
Totally.
And
I mean, and then I just like also forget to develop anything and I forget to film in there for a year. And then I remember, I'm like, oh, all this stuff happened. What
why not
comes
your
out of
phone?
it?
Why don't you shoot with your phone?
Because I overthink it immediately and you want to take like a million versions of it and look at it. And I don't
That's
know.
fair.
It's just so much more fun to not know. No, I don't know. I like to not think about CRO in my regular life that much, but it happens anyway. I can't get around it.
You can try. It's easy. Watch. There you
Oh,
go.
that's how you do it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Wait, empty. It's not hard.
You should be like some kind of meditation master or
Yeah, yeah. Just forcing
Zen
out
dude.
all CRO out of the mind.
Hmm.
Speaking of which, to do the opposite of
This is a
meditation.
CRO podcast. Come
That's
on.
right. That's right. It's not a photography podcast. Maybe one day I'll start one for
Hmm.
folks who discovered film many years after it's died. Um,
Hmm.
back to what we're on.
Okay, what's been happening with you in the CRO world in the past month since I've seen you? Give us a little update. Have you learned anything new? Have you experienced something frustrating?
Have I
Do you
learned?
have a nice story?
I'm trying to remember when the last time we talked. Did I learn anything new? So it's probably AI is a lot more places than I remember. Um,
Hmm.
I think a lot. Oh, yeah, good or bad? Bad. A lot of more folks are reaching out. Like, hey, things aren't working out for me in an XYZ company. Um, have you heard of things? So I'm hearing that side of it. Um,
Okay.
people are worried about what's going on. Tech wise, I haven't heard all that much. Everyone's just jumping on the AI train. And yeah, that's about it really. What are you hearing? You are more closer to clients and stuff.
Yeah, I heard through the grapevine sort of an interesting story about a company who's trying to push, AI usage internally and whatever, and they organized this like call it a workshop or whatever, where everybody was sort of divided into teams and then each team had to like use AI tools to come up with a specific website or product or something in the same category, and they weren't allowed to talk to each other and whatever. And like at the end of the workshop they came together to like look at the results, and
Yeah.
even though they weren't talking to each other, the different groups, everybody had created the exact same thing. It's like
And what did they
the
what did they end up doing? Was it all like brainstorm and data
um
analysis?
No, they just like literally had to create an example of a website, I think, and had to use different AI tools, and they're all different people, but the output was the same because the
Yeah,
tools function the same way. So I thought it was kind of a funny illustration of how
I worry
things are
about that.
going.
I worry that AI is just literally just going to average out everything,
Yeah.
and
I mean, it
it's just
already has sort of.
like smartphones. They all look the same now.
Hmm. Yeah, and like the other day I was also looking at all the different like how many different models there are now that you can
Hmm.
use and choose between.
Yeah,
And I literally just like blacked out for a moment. And I'm like, how is anybody supposed to like differentiate between any of these? Like, I just wanted help with a freaking email. And now I
yeah.
have to choose between 100 different models and read through what they all do and what their best case scenarios are. And then I see people on LinkedIn like posting about like, oh, I use this model for this and this. Like, I know what this does specifically. And I'm like, I don't believe you. I don't believe that anybody can differentiate at this point between these freaking models
I
and
think
what they
some can.
do.
I think some models are better at producing specific output, but for the general person, no one's going to notice. Um, it's similar. I've said this in the past, where I think people who understand CRO pretty well understand what, or can recognize good work, but and everyone else can't. So it all looks the same.
Hmm.
I think it's going to be very similar for AI, where the AI experts are like, "This is so much better," and 95% of the audience are like, "It looks the same to me. It's still a little bit better than Google for a lot of things." Um,
Hmm.
and now it's starting to serve ads, so that looks the same too. I don't know if you've seen that.
No, yeah, I agree. I think so. I was even thinking about all of the questions that we've gotten for this podcast, right? Like there's been dozens now, and I started to sort through them and I kind of like identified five different categories, and even within the AI category, there's like, there's the overarching layer of what people are asking. And it kind of sounds like they're asking about the tool and how to use it. But like if you peel it back even a little bit, there's a lot of different layers underneath and a lot of fear about like what does it actually mean for me, where do I stand, where do I fit in, am I
Yeah,
going to be left behind, what does good even look like anymore in terms of the work that we output, like you said. So
I think the
yeah.
fear is justified though. Like you hear all sorts of people using AI as an excuse for cutting, and I'm not 100% convinced that a lot of the layoffs recently are necessarily because of AI. It's kind of I feel a lot of it is an excuse for compensating for overhiring before.
Hmm.
But yeah, like of course you can be scared because that's what everyone's saying. We can reduce um, headcount by 40% if we use AI. So I get the fear.
Hmm.
Um, I'm no industry expert, but I know it's gonna f a bunch of people over.
Yeah, but then there's that sort of subcategory of people who are 100% just fear mongering for attention
Mm,
on social as well, right? Like,
yeah,
yeah, I agree that the fear is justified somewhat, but you got to discern on some level how people are still, being paid by companies who produce these tools to say whatever they want them to say. That's one thing. The other thing is just like getting clout on social media and whatever, right? Cuz like negative things always bring in more attention. And yeah, there's a lot of layers to what's going on for sure
Why,
in
why
that
aren't you
space.
jumping on that bandwagon? Why aren't you fear mongering?
I don't know. I just like at this point in my life choose to not live in fear and choose to not make life or work decisions out of fear because they don't really produce that much ROI.
The ROI of fear, small.
Yeah. I mean, doing anything out of fear is like, it's not going to be a very good outcome. So, what's the point?
Okay, okay. I'm sure there's exceptions, but I think in general that's probably true. I mean, if you're jumping out of a plane for fear, it's crashing.
Yeah. I mean, fear is meant for surviving in a difficult
A real
situation
thing.
when the bear is chasing you in the
Yeah,
forest
that's
and you
okay to
gotta fight
be
back.
scared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like made up tools on the internet, like, come on, people, let's get it together. Yeah, I don't want to like record for 2 hours today. It's too long.
You're come on. Okay. An hour 45. Cool.
Maybe
All
an
right.
hour. Okay.
Miss Culture. Let's start here.
Okay. First question. Where is a CRO team most effective? Embedded, centralized, or hybrid?
Yes. Next question.
No, no, no. Talk about
Uh,
your experience as a senior
yes.
CRO in the industry, please.
It depends on, in my opinion, I think it depends on the stage and the maturity of your program. When you start out, I feel fairly strongly you go with centralized. No one has the muscle memory or the rigor or the know-how in every part of the org. So have it all go through that one area to build that muscle, build trust, find your champions in different groups. You know, the folks who are real keeners and understand the process. And that's when you could start branching out. Because what's going to happen really quick is you're going to become a bottleneck and everyone's going to complain. Good problems, because there's too much work for one group. Then you'll likely need to go into an embedded, no, sorry, a hybrid, where you start putting people into different areas. I'm talking about internal structure. Um, so they'll have more context into that group and they'll be able to generate hypotheses a bit better. Um, if you're really, really good, you could go embedded, but I always find that's kind of hard because no one resource is going to be maximized. There'll be someone's going to have a lot of work, someone's not going to have a lot of work. They're not going to learn from each other that well, and you kind of lose touch with the home base and that guild. So I don't love fully embedded. I like to go from centralized and hybrid often. And you just kind of gauge how it goes. But yeah, that's how I see it. What have you seen in the past?
I think centralized is kind of the ideal situation for most people, but it's also a bit of a best case scenario where I think it only works if the leadership is super bought in to the
Yeah,
program and what you're doing. Because if
yeah,
they're not, it's really hard to position the experimentation as a centralized anything
yeah.
and, like, have buy in, or like even convince people that they should push things forward through you and like want to test things and whatever. So I think the leadership being involved and on board and giving you the actual authority as, like, the program manager or whatever,
Hmm.
because if you're even like bought in as an agency or a service, and you have this hypothetical authority, but then you start to try to do things and you realize very quickly that you don't have any actual authority,
Yeah.
then things are going to fall apart really fast.
I think also there's also another side to that where um, this is partly why I like to get closer to hybrid slash embedded, because when companies want to cut, it's easier to cut a line item that says experimentation than it is to cut someone who's embedded in a team and they're part of a working system.
Mm.
It's harder to
Mm-hmm.
tease them out, and you're like, oh, well, you can reduce the head count cutting just by a little bit if you can hide what they do. And it sounds terrible. It does sound terrible, but to be honest, a lot of folks are like, well, experimentation's a nice to have. We're not in that kind of situation right now. We're going to cut that line and boom, there goes the team. And we hire more agencies like yours.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like there are so many companies where they see experimentation as this sort of like an extra nice thingy to have. It's
Yeah.
not a core function for the business. And if it's not seen as a core function for the business for growth, then yeah, you're not going to centralize anything, I think.
I think it really does have a branding problem because it's like it constantly feels nice to have, kind of like a big
Hmm.
marketing splash. Even though it can produce results, it can produce insights. It's never ever viewed as a
Do
core critical thing.
Do you also feel like the branding problem is partly because CRO people are so whiny? Like all we do on LinkedIn is whine about like how hard it is to do CRO. And like I do it all the time too, and then I have to check myself like who's gonna care? Like
I
we
think
need to rebrand these activities somehow as like fun.
I think it's because it could be explained with one line. Run A/B tests to make money. I mean, you can. That's a gross generalization, but a
Hmm.
finance person will go, "Oh yeah, those that group they run A/B tests to make more money." And that if you can summarize a group of people with one sentence, you could make that a yes and to a product manager or a web strategist or what have you. Just add it to someone else's job, and like there goes the department, save some money. Um, so the problem is it's very summarizable, and the words that could be used to summarize it are A/B test. Sounds like a small little technical kind of thing. Oh, we do a little bit of math, right? You just do this and that's it. Um, yeah, and that's my opinion of it. It's like when you talk about product management. Oh, product management, that's tough. building a thing. We're building big things. These guys are tweakies and whatever. So I think that's a lot of. Is it due to the whininess? I think the whininess isn't helping. Um, but I don't know if we argue about solving big problems either. And maybe that's the, when people are, oh, don't copy competitors and big button and blue button. Oh, fuck, who cares? Sorry. I
Yeah,
should,
or especially the whole, like, what do we call it in the first
yeah.
place? Like,
Like this, who
and
cares?
but also in a perfect world, a product manager should also be doing A/B testing. So it's
Exactly.
like we've sort of branded the tool as the job, where in reality it's just a research tool. Like, it's
Yeah.
not the whole thing.
Yeah. I am, maybe I'm the worst in the sense that I feel I'm half champion of it, and the other half I'm a doomsday kind of guy,
Mm.
where I feel everyone cover your ass, learn a second skill, and incorporate CRO into it. That's gonna kind of future proof yourself if you can merge CRO with SEO or with research or with product. That's probably your safest bet, or go agency pure. Just that's all you do. But then you have to be better at client management and telling stories. So you're still merging a skill. So there. Boy, this went way past beyond embedded, centralized, and hybrid.
Wow. Yeah. And somehow it's probably still didn't even answer the question
Oh,
easily of what do I do about this?
I I think I start with centralized. See if it works. If it doesn't work, go to hybrid, and then if you're really gutsy, go embedded. But I think that's a lot of headache to go fully embedded. That's my opinion. The second question is, what methods actually create a strong experimentation culture? I like the word actually, i.e., stuff basically implying that everything else was just not really working. It sounds dated. I like
Yeah,
teasing out, you know,
this is also like a theme throughout all these episodes. I think every episode we get this question.
yeah,
So
fear again.
it's one of those problems that is sort of unsolvable. I think it's kind of like doing laundry. There's no end goal. Like, you're gonna have to keep doing laundry for the rest of your life, you know?
So yeah, building experimentation culture is like doing laundry. You
Yeah.
just gotta keep doing the
Like,
laundry.
often I get so pissed off that I need to do laundry again. Like, why doesn't it ever end? And then I was just like, need
Well,
to check myself and meditate again and be like, well, that's going to be the rest of my life. So just accept it and shut up about it. Just do it.
I'm laughing because it's very rare I see the mildly angry version of you. I've seen positive, I've seen mildly negative, and now I'm seeing angry.
I had a very long client call in the morning, and then I had a Coca-Cola, so I'm riled up today.
Okay, okay, let's go about it a different direction. What are the worst things that you could do to build a culture? How can you destroy an experimentation of culture?
How can you destroy? By not wanting to do any experiments and
Just
just
let,
kind
let's
of,
let people do it. Never push for a test. Ever
yeah,
never question. Um,
just never talk to anybody, never talk to any customers.
Never look at
Be
data.
s- be so sure that you already know all of the answers, and just
Letting it run on autopilot, I think, is also a problem.
mhm.
Like this is another problem where you feel everyone's gotten mature and you can ease off the gas. I'm missing everything. Uh, that's when things will start to drift, and because they don't care as much, they'll take shortcuts, and the quality goes down. So you kind of have to always do the laundry and just always remind them what good looks like. Um,
I would just like refer back to my previous answer about the other question too, where like leadership buy-in is so
True.
important, and like
Yeah,
having actual authority to make decisions and push things through, because you can have like a super long, awesome generated roadmap and a testing backlog, but if you don't have the authority to push those tests live, then it doesn't matter.
and if you don't have
So
leadership that cares,
yeah. And
that's
or
the,
yeah,
that's,
even if you
that's
get
the
those
most
tests
dangerous.
live, yeah, and you get the results back and it's like nobody gives a shit, then like
Yeah. That's one of the scariest. Like I've seen it a few times where it was hot at one point. One point they hire and staff up and buy the tools, and then they check the box. We did the experimentation, and they
Yeah.
don't care about it anymore. That's when I think things go bad because at first they start listening, and then they stop listening, and then they stop
Hmm.
caring, and then it becomes a light item you cut. So yeah, always do laundry. I mean that works in every interpretation. Um,
How can senior ICs influence experimentation culture beyond shipping tests? What is ICs? I never know any abbreviations.
individual contributor. You have no man. You're not managing people.
Mm.
Uh, huh. I mean, be noisy. That's always worked for me. Naggy and noisy. Show the results. Nag people about, hey, why didn't we test this? Obviously, don't be obnoxious about it. Be friendly. That's kind of a given. But just constantly sharing the possibilities. But at one point, you're gonna have to get buy-in from the top. I know. I hate to say that. If unless you get that senior leader, it will be you'll be fighting it forever if unless you get that support from above. So maybe the best thing you can do is try to get a senior leader to talk to you a little bit.
Yeah, and I would like, especially if you work in organizations or on this project, you have a lot of stakeholders and you have calls with a lot of people. I would try to like separate them out and sort of have more individual discussions and try to make it clear that the stuff that you're doing and the data that you're gathering is going to help them in some way, or that that's your intention to
Yeah,
empower them to make better decisions, to be more confident in their decisions and whatever, that you're not like this, external threat trying to like uncover their blunders at work or whatever, because that's, I think we've discussed this in a past episode too, where often agencies and freelancers, especially by people who don't have previous experience working with individual contributors,
yeah,
they tend to see those people as like a threat almost to their job or something.
yeah.
Whereas it should be the opposite. Like you're there to empower them, to help them.
I don't know. This is just it's a constant thing that keeps coming up. Like
Hmm.
how do I? But the SEO folks face the same things. It's like how do you keep doing it? You just got to try to be visible constantly.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, sometimes you're hired as like a Hail Mary. I've talked about this before, but if you were hired to just be this hired gun, fix all the problems, you're not you're not going to get much culture built out. You were built for saving a thing, and it's unlikely to be successful. But that's just me being jaded.
Hmm. Yeah, or even maybe like facilitating connection and discussions
Yeah,
between the internal
I love that.
team, because often it helps to have an external sort of set of eyes
Yeah,
and to call out the fact that even the internal team has not been really collaborating on different things. So you can be a moderator and,
yeah,
organize a workshop or whatever you want to call it and like set a specific task. It doesn't have to be anything super difficult, even just, oh, let's like all look at the website together and put Miro board tickets and like get
yeah,
ideas down and whatever. Like nothing even has to come from it specifically. You're not looking for like super awesome test ideas that are going to win. You're just facilitating that teamwork,
yeah.
that
And I
sort of.
think that's something I've seen in the past where you kind of highlight a problem, you're trying to push on the problem, you're pulling in these different stakeholders, and suddenly they're starting to talk, and they're starting to understand that this is a bigger problem or bigger opportunity, and just being recognized as a catalyst of change, positive change, constructive change,
Mhm.
and highlighting things that maybe each side kind of saw, but now that they're both seeing it, it's elevating the magnitude of the problem. That's that's a good brand to have, and if that kind of the halo effect grows to cover your experimentation stuff, then that's great. So
Mhm.
um, yeah, I like that. Just getting people to
Yeah,
connect.
but like one thing I think nobody really wants to talk about or address is that to be able to pull this off, you have to have sort of like a pretty good level of confidence in yourself and like
Or
a
you're
commanding
overthinking.
personality a little bit. It's like otherwise
Yes,
nobody's gonna like show up to your workshop or even listen to you or whatever. So even if you don't have that confidence, you gotta fake it.
I have, I have definitely faked it in the past, where I've had leaders in the room and go, I don't know how this is going to turn out. This
Mhm.
could be great. This could be great, or this could be terrible. I remember holding a workshop and inviting my most senior leader of the division, like the hot top person. And
Mhm.
at first, no one showed up. Like maybe two, three people, and we're talking tests. And then the leader showed up. I'm not going to name names or whatever. And then suddenly, this meeting got like the place to be seen by the leader. Suddenly,
Mm.
it became let's talk about experimentation and be part of it. And also, the leader was like, "Why isn't more people here? This is important." Um, so yeah, there's ways. I guess it's like more of a forcing function, make people look bad by not being part of it.
Yeah, totally.
How do you reposition CRO as a growth engine versus a testing function? Smart.
Um, well, isn't the whole point of having a testing function to grow the business?
Mm,
Like, to me, they're not really separate.
yeah, because
Or
you
are
make
they?
you think things through. That's your problem.
Hmm.
You don't bucket things illogically. Come on. Um, but so I literally so my background is in experimentation, CRO, and growth. I've done growth for a few years. I can tell you, not necessarily the same thing. Not necessarily in many people's minds. Um, CRO is often seen as the end of a process, optimization of the thing. Growth is often seen as build the thing that's going to grow. You're going to run experiments, but it's more at the beginning. You can debate whether these are right or wrong, but that's often how they're seen. Where you hire a growth person, they're going to come in, they're going to bust all the things up, measure all the things, optimize the things, build all the things. While optimization is like, okay, we built it, throw some zeros at it to make it work better than it works today. So you can argue that's the same thing, but mentally one is different parts of the development process.
Yeah, I think it's just, there's so much variety right now in organizations, how things are bucketed and
Yeah.
organized and what's the hierarchy and whatever. Like, for example, one of our biggest clients right now, we 100% sit under the VP of growth and we
Mm,
empower like growth to do their thing and
yeah.
help answer, questions and problem solve with tests and whatever. So to me, it's like that's my recent experience. But yeah, I know that in some companies they're kept very separately, but I think the power is in marrying them sort of
Yeah.
and like keeping them together. I don't know.
I think
It depends, I guess.
I think for CRO to do that, they have to move upstream in not in the customer journey perspective, but in the product development or publishing or the creation process of a thing. It has to assert itself a little bit further up in thinking about the pirate metrics and loops and rather than looking at a conversion rate, looking more at systems level type things. And it's a short jump, really. But it's
Hmm.
about the framing of it. You're just not um, optimizing anymore. You're building systems. And I think that's all you have to say. Just change the landing page of your website. It's not just CRO, uh, growth system building. That's it. Done.
Yeah, it's probably a maturity thing too, right? Like if you're just starting out with CRO, you kind of think that yeah, it's about testing a couple of buttons and whatever. But if you are a multi-billion-dollar company with like 1,000 people in your marketing team, right? Then it's
Mhm.
like it's a little bit different.
All right. Well, thanks for everyone for listening to us answer questions again, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Have a good one. Yay!
That's
Very
good.
natural.